Hi, I'm Jamie.
I'm Jen.
Welcome to our podcast, All Things Unbroken.
Life breaks us in ways we never expect, but God rebuilds us in ways we could never imagine.
So come hang with us as we talk about relationships, motherhood, wellness, grief, recovery,
And the slow, beautiful process of becoming unbroken.
Hi, cousin.
Good morning, baby cousin. Got
Aw,
permission to say that.
I love
Hello.
it. Hello.
Happy almost summertime, girl.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Happy almost summertime. How is it down there?
It's
How is it in
it's
Texas?
hot. It's hot and
Yeah.
itchy. I have poison ivy all over this side of my face and all over my arms. Which Jamie's known all about it and it's hilarious. I'm like, hey, do you like gross things? And she's like, no. And they're like, I want to show her really bad. So that's where my life is. It's been great. The other day, I was joking with my husband, and all the things were happening and oozing on my face and oozing on my arm. And I'm just like, it's hot, you know, with a 4-year-old and we're trying to do things. He's been out of town some. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for my property. But also to be positive, because we're trying this thing, I was like, at least I am not pregnant in a camper
Mm,
working out outside, because 5 years ago,
yeah.
probably right around now, we were camper living, waiting for our barn dough to get done. And I was doing some lifting outside, and I literally, at some point, had my yoga mat in like poison ivy with my weights. And it got so bad. It was all over my chin and my face. It
Oh
was
my
so
God.
bad. I went to a baby shower right before my daughter was born, and she came early, but I remember being there and someone was like, oh, you're just glowing. Like you're just glowing. And I looked at them and I was like, it's poison ivy. Anyway,
It's the poison. Yeah.
I'm trying to be positive, you know. It's like that's a positive,
Oh,
right? Hey.
yeah.
Anyway, what's going
Not
on with you?
everything in life is positive. We don't
I
always
know,
have
but
to
I
be
mean,
positive. But
you
no, it
have
is
to
good to
try.
think
Yeah.
on
You have
the
to
things like
try.
we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Reframe it to something better. I get it. I get it.
What's going on with you?
We had such a good week.
I know you did
So
good.
many good things that I want to share. And I'll probably leave something out, probably. But I'm going to start with Wednesday. We got to
Well,
go to
hey, let's pause.
Max McNair.
How
Oh,
are you this morning? Let's start with
oh,
there.
this morning. I'm good. I'm good. I've been battling with my contacts a little bit. So if you see me going like this, just don't worry about it. I think it's sees like the allergies and they make my eyes a little more sticky. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm here and I'm good. And I'm glad to be
You're
talking with you.
beautiful. Okay.
Thank you. You're beautiful.
Life contacts. Okay. Yes. Tell us.
Contacts and sticky contacts and poison ivy. That's
Yeah.
what we'll
Yeah.
call this one.
Go
Well, you
ahead.
hit
Tell.
it
I know you're
beautifully with your
excited. I
hair.
know a lot of stuff happened this week. Let's start there. And
Yeah,
yeah, let's
just
start
a
there. It's
quick
been a good
catch
week
up.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm missing something, but sometimes I can't remember like what I did yesterday. So I'll start with Wednesday. I got to take my daughter to the Max McNown concert, and it was at kind of a small venue. And we both like his music, but I guess I didn't realize like how good and like I guess wholesome and I don't know. I was a little nervous about taking her, but it was on a Wednesday night. We didn't have a sitter. She likes him a lot more than my husband likes him. So when my husband was like, "You can pick who you take with you," I was like, "Can I take her, please?" And she was so excited. So anyway, the venue was really cool. The atmosphere was really nice. Like it felt very safe and like wholesome. And like, when you take your teenager somewhere, you kind of wonder like what it's going to be
Yeah.
like. And it was great. It felt very comfortable there. We had a great time. And I actually enjoyed watching her having a good time more than I enjoyed watching him. So most of my videos are like of her getting all giggly and excited and stuff. Um, Friday, she had her cheer banquet, end of season cheer banquet, and she had pom tryouts. So we went straight from tryouts to that. After the banquet, immediately we drove over to the high school and found out she made the JV pom team. So we just go straight from like goodbye cheer, hello high school pom. I'm not ready for it.
Yes.
Yes. So that was a great day. And then the next morning, we ran 1.2 miles of the Oklahoma City Memorial marathon. So it was for the kids. My son's school did 25 miles throughout the year. And then all the kids got together and ran their last like 1.2 miles, and they let parents go with them. Like you could sign up to run with them. So I did. And that was an adventure that we can talk
Sure.
about or not talk about.
Do it.
Okay. I don't want to take too much time, but just real
You're
quick.
right. It's real life stuff. This is hilarious,
I
by the way.
always like, I can't seem to do a thing and not have like an awkward moment. So it was at the end, we're running through, I see all the faces of the lives that were lost. I was getting very emotional. My face was getting into an ugly cry. I was already embarrassed because, like, at the end is where all the people are like watching you and taking pictures. And it's like, I'm trying not to ugly cry. And I threw my phone. I had my phone. I was turning off the music or something, put it in my bag. I thought I zipped it, flew it on my back. I'm like almost at the end, like, oh, thank goodness. And I noticed my bag was a little lighter, and I think I heard something. I turned around, and like a man was like handing me my phone, and a kid handed me my AirPods case. And I had my left one in, and I opened it, and my right one was gone. And so I came out of the race not feeling like, oh, we finished, or like, my son was like probably 2 minutes ahead of me, but my husband had him. Anyway, I was more like, where's my AirPod? Like the whole time. So we tracked it. Long story short, we chased it around the area for a little bit, but I couldn't refresh in time. And we ended up having to drive about 30 minutes away down I-35 into a neighborhood, walked up to the door, still had on my race shirt and my bib and everything. So he knew. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever done, but I think you might have my AirPod. And he was like, well, actually, before I said that, he was like, I know exactly why you're here. Come on in. I have it right here. I was a volunteer. Somebody handed it to me, and I figured I'd just hold on to it. I figured you'd either find me or I would go in and help you find it. And so yeah, I stalked a man and or my own AirPod all the way down I-35 into Moore, Oklahoma. So
Okay, there's so many things because I loved
I know.
the story because in the middle of this because I knew Jamie was doing this race with her son. And by the way, that race is one of my favorite races that
Yeah.
I've done because I did that like 8 or 9 years ago, I think. Um, and I remember when I went down there for the half, it was freezing. It was hot this weekend, but I remember it was so cold. It was so miserable. But what you're saying with the way they put the race on and they do the memory, which there was actually 31 years this last year. Jamie and I
Mhm.
were raised in Oklahoma. You were like in 30 minutes from or an hour from the bombing. Right, you were in
Yes.
El Reno,
Yeah.
so and I was a couple, but I'll never forget. We actually kind of talked about that. But anyways, that's one of my favorite ones. But it's funny because when she texted, I could tell she was like, "Oh, I didn't even like I dropped this, I did that." I'm like, I could tell you so many stories when I fell on my face in the middle of things and crossed the finish line. I am the clumsiest person ever, and I was like, I'm not trying to say like the story like, oh, that made me feel better. But it did because it's like literally that's real life.
Yeah.
Like you go through, you fall down, you get up, and I'm so proud of you for doing that. That's awesome.
Oh,
But that's
thank
a really
you.
great race. It's a great
Yeah,
race.
you texted me and you were like, I literally fell on my face one time, and I'm like, that actually made me feel better. Thank you.
I've done
So
it a few
yes.
times. I've done it a few, maybe not, across the finish line. It's one of those things like you have this build up in life, and this is just comparing like to life, like in your head, like what it's going to be to cross that finish line or to go with your son and do these things, and then it wasn't that moment that we picture. Like how many times in life do we do
Mm,
that in
that's
life?
a whole thing right there to
We
unpack.
should like
Yes.
let's just like what do you
We think it's
expect?
supposed to be like a photo finish, right?
Right.
And
Like
instead, I was like, my
seriously. But
bag and like my stuff and like my screen protector broke. And
and it's hilarious.
there,
And first of all, it's just like how many times in life when you have kids, when you get married on your wedding day, when you have get together, when you do this, whatever it is in life, you expect this thing. But honestly, like I
mm,
love that you're able to laugh about this and look back because that's just like real life right there. So thank you for sharing that. And then also the AirPod thing, that is some commitment right there. That you would go because I won't even tell you what I do now because well I will because my friend bought me AirPods back when I was like when back when my daughter was born and I was like why are you buying me these like I lose everything but I kept them for like a year and a half and then I lost them and then I bought like another so now I have like actually have like maybe two or three sets, but I like lose them intermittently. So for you to go track down that AirPod, like, girl, that is
Hmm.
a commitment. I just went to like
Oh, thank you. Well, there were
to
reasons. Like
someone's house. Like,
I had
that's
an older
awesome.
pair of AirPods that like I just actually lost one in like the grocery store last year, like middle of last
Okay.
year. And I had had them for years, but they were older and they weren't the ones you could track, right? And
Sure.
so my husband actually got me this new pair for Christmas. And
Love
it
it.
was kind of a big deal. And like I left my job, so things are a little different. So I'm not really like in a place where I'm like, oh, I'll just go get another. I mean, I
Right.
guess I could probably try to, but it's just I'm trying to be. Anyway, it took me a while to even realize that I could track these. Like I would leave them in my bag or like in the car or something and couldn't find them. And I would just go on about my day and be like, I couldn't find my AirPods for like
Yeah.
3 days. And then I realized, oh, I can turn on my Find My and play the sound. So
It's
since I
amazing.
knew that, so I did the tracking, but of course, every time I refreshed, it was like 5 or 10 minutes behind. So I could see them and I would go there and then I would refresh and then they'd be up here on like North Robinson and then they'd be further. And then they
Well,
were south on I 35.
why did he take it?
So there was not like a lost and found booth. I think he looked for one
Oh,
and I looked for one,
I
but
was
he knew that
curious.
there was a tracker. He was a volunteer and somebody
What
handed
a
it to
good
him. And
guy.
so he was a super good guy. So shout out to my AirPod hero. But I have to tell you, one of the coolest parts of this whole thing, and sorry we're going on about this for so long, but like
Hmm.
I felt something inside of me when I was doing this that I was like being a burden to my family and like taking away from my son's race. And I was trying not to do that, right? That's just how I was feeling. And to be honest, when we started tracking it, my kids were so excited because they love like it was like the thrill of the chase or something. Like they were so excited. And I was like, "Are you sure you guys want to do this? Like what if we end up in like Dallas or something?" And they're like, "Are you kidding me? I've always wanted to do something like this." Like
It's
they
so
like
fun. I love it.
what's that movie about the map and Nicolas Cage and the treasure, national treasure, like how they're hunting,
Billy and Pooh.
like
Yeah,
they love that movie. And so I was kind of shocked and surprised and kind of like loved the fact that they
oh,
were like, this is fun, and they wanted to engage in the process, and they were
yeah,
like kind of sad when it was over.
yeah. So funny story. So I don't just go buy AirPods. By the way, everyone. I'm like, oh, my AirPods. I'm just saying I did it like once, and
No.
now I have
Yeah.
two sets of AirPods. So if I lose them, but it's funny because my daughter has also because I lose everything. So two things happen. I also broke my Apple Watch months ago, and I just never bought a new one. Little thing you
Mm.
can do. I just figured this out because I tried it because I lose everything, right? My phone, I put it places. So if your AirPods are in, you can say to your AirPods, Siri, find my phone. It will find your phone and make it beep.
Oh,
Yeah. Did you know that?
very nice. I
Figure
don't
that
think I
out.
get very far away from my phone
Well,
with
I,
my
you know
AirPods,
me.
but that is
I'm in
good to know.
this. It's good to know because I've left my phone in a goat pen. I've left on a lawnmower. Like sometimes I don't have my phone. You know me. I don't have my phone all day. But
Oh, if you have your watch, you're still listening, right?
huh?
Because I
So I
don't
don't
have
have
an
my watch.
Apple
No, I
Watch.
don't have my watch anymore.
Okay,
So my watch, to find my phone, I would beep it all the time because I always lost it. But
gotcha.
now I'm just saying, the other day I figured out you can literally just tell your AirPods that.
Yeah.
But she likes
Oh,
finding
wait.
it when I do that too. Like she'll go and be like, "Oh, where is it? Like let's go find it," because I lose stuff all the time.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's fun.
it's
My
fun.
AirPods one day
It's
we
so
were looking in
fun.
my car for like an hour. You could hear it be dinging. So
Oh, no.
so I had her in the back, like underneath. Like so, yes, it is a
Mhm.
scavenger hunt for them. I love it. Yeah, we family time
Yeah,
tracking down our devices.
they were super excited.
That's
Thankfully,
fun.
we didn't have to go very far. And even my husband was very supportive. And he was like, "Do you want me to go to the door?" Because I guess
This
he
is
thought to be more
hilarious.
safe. And I was like, "It looks like a good neighborhood." And since I had my stuff on, like I said, I thought, and I even like rang the doorbell and it was a ring doorbell. So I started talking to it. And I was like, in case this is recording, I think you
Oh
might have
goodness.
my AirPods.
This I'm invested. I was in because
Yeah,
you actually got on and you're like, hey, listen to this report. I'm telling you, I didn't listen to it till like later. I was like dying laughing by the story that you had told me. Anyway, good
it
job.
was
I'm so glad
great.
you found him. What a
It was
great
an adventure.
weekend
Yeah.
with
Tell me about
family.
yours.
Well, we could just end right here and move on. No, it's a very good story. My weekend was good. It was pretty chill. My husband was at a fishing tournament for some work And my daughter and I got to spend Friday and Saturday and just have some girl time. And it was really nice. I know we're transitioning, like you're transitioning your oldest to like high school, right? And I'm transitioning my daughter to kindergarten. And I'll be honest, I'm having a much harder time. I think I said this before. I'm having a much harder time with it than I ever expected to have with this. And
Yeah.
it's what it is. So I'm really like trying to embrace the moments, which goes back to what you're talking about, where we have this in our head, like, okay, this summer, this is what I'm going to do, whatever. And I'm already like, get that out the window, get that out the window. Like, yes, you should have maybe a plan. So you're not just chaotic, but like
Yeah.
both of us, we're going to talk each other through that. Okay. But we on Friday, we've never really like, so whenever my husband's gone for things, like we'll have sleepovers and stuff, but we stay up until like midnight watching a movie, watching some
Mm,
shows, eating snacks, and like normally she'll sleep, we'll go to bed earlier on the weekends than that. But I mean, and the next day we
yeah.
just got up and we made pancakes together and we relaxed and we put some music on and she helped me with all the things. And then my husband got back Saturday and we just kind of relaxed. And it's just a really busy season for him. He's in sales for he does mechanical sales for like the big HVAC unit. So like summer's like super busy. So he is
Mm,
meetings, travel, entertaining, all the things. And it's kind of like I don't mind it. I'm pretty independent. I like my alone time too. But with her, it's been fun to like have the times with her and to like do the things. But anyway, that was my weekend
was
was
it
good.
this?
Went to church on Sunday. So
Yeah. Awesome.
which has been another journey because we've been really trying to find a church and yeah, we go back and forth about the drive and the commitment and the things because we live way out here. And this has been kind of a topic that I think is kind of important because it's hard to find a home. I mean, you've talked about that a little bit. So, anyways,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
but
think that can tie into what you're saying about like the finish line, the photo finish. Like when you were younger, did you have this idea of like, oh, I'm gonna get when I'm older, I'm gonna get married and have kids. It's gonna be this like perfect, like we're gonna have our church and we're gonna have our community. We're gonna have like you kind of think it's just gonna be this thing, and then you get here and you're like, oh, I dropped my phone and my AirPods, and like
at the
like
end of a
things are not
line, and I think for
perfect.
me, to be real, I kind of gave up those fantasies probably about 20 years ago when things were just like all over,
Yeah,
I think. But you try to keep them, you try to control them that way. But then, as you get older, you keep trying to go back. But at some point, you kind of are just like,
yeah,
but I'm
oh
really good
yeah,
at like the big things. Like I'm more like the little things. So this church thing, the reason it's for me, kind of I talk about it so much is because we decided before my daughter was born 5 years ago to move out far away from our city life, which I've not had any regrets about that. And then it's just there's also some just by living in the city, there's some pros and cons as far as living out. You're kind of in the middle, I feel like, of the both
mhm.
because I feel like you're kind of out, but you're not like too far out, but um,
Yeah. We're pretty
like you're
we're
10
kind
minutes
of in
from
the
where you everywhere
suburbs,
you
but
need to
it
go.
feels like we're a little out of town. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're in a good proximity to
Like
everything.
directions.
Yeah.
And one of my things is, as like when I put my mind to something, I'll do it. So I had no problem when my daughter was between 8 months and 2 years old, driving to town every Monday for an hour while I was working full time and having her home. I just did got it done. And now that I'm home with her full time, it's just a little bit different because the driving and things I pay more attention to it because he's on the road a lot, my husband. So I'm trying to pay
Mm,
more attention but
yeah.
also at the same time, I had this conversation the other day. I'm like, listen, you got to do what you got to do. Like God puts us in places for reasons, and like maybe our community is in 3 different cities. I mean, I don't know. It's like let it go. Like let go of that. What
Yeah.
you're saying about like what we envision in our lives. So I don't know where that
Yes.
came from.
And sometimes not even what we envisioned, but it's like the picture that was kind of painted for us, I think, was like, this is
Oh
what it's
yeah,
supposed to look like. And then you get here and you're like, this is not.
and so that's a good
But
point. Like,
I like it anyway.
so that's a good point. Though, like, how do we let go of that? Like, how do we let go of expectations? Right? Like, and I don't know if this goes in. I know we were the devotional. I don't know what devotion. Maybe this is a good time for you to talk about that. And maybe like, I don't know if that would tie into what we're talking about, but like, how do we get guided to where we're going to go and accept it and let go of those expectations and believe in the prayer and the things, like tying it together,
Hmm.
right? Like that's what we're trying to figure out, which maybe we shouldn't figure it out because it's not up to us.
I think oddly enough, I guess it shouldn't surprise us anymore because we always pray over these things and they come out like just how they're meant to. So
Opposite. I'm just kidding.
interestingly enough, that does go right into what I had in mind, which I was sitting
Okay.
here going, should we even talk about this today? Should we not?
Yeah.
But
I love
yes,
your
so
verses.
you actually led me just right into it, which
Okay.
good job. Um, I think I let go of a lot of those expectations at a pretty young age because I grew up in a very strict religious environment. And I would say like my home and my family probably wasn't as like legalistic as the church was, but we still were at at that place hearing it in my developmental years 3 times a week, all the things, all the judgment, all the things. And I think after seeing, as I got a little older for sure, seeing like the hypocrisy and like the legalism and different things, it was like maybe I was sort of like a people pleaser. Maybe I did try to have an ideal. I tried to like, oh, I'm going to find the person and get married young and have the babies and do the things like I saw in that world. And I realized pretty quickly like I was not ever good enough for anyone ever. Like couldn't please anybody. So I kind of got to a point where I was like, I need to just get connected with the Lord and his word and figure out what he wants and what's right and not really what people around me like anybody's expectations. Not that I didn't have seasons in there in between of like, going a little too far off the path and different things, but um actually the topic I had had in my mind for today was the Lord as a shepherd. And I think what I had told you before was during that time, young adulthood, I was trying to decide like, I mean, too young of like, who am I supposed to marry? Like, did I need to be thinking about that at that age? No, but in that world, that's kind of how it was. Where am I supposed to go to school? And everything was a supposed to. And I just didn't see this big like sign in front of my face that said, Jamie, go here. Jamie, do this. Jamie, and I always felt like I was like struggling and striving to like figure it out. And there was this overwhelming fear of like, what if I get it wrong? So people who grew up in legalistic churches probably will understand, or even just very like strict families or whatever, can probably relate to this. But I remember sometime in young adulthood, I wish I could remember if it was like if I was praying and I kind of heard this during prayer, like in my heart, or sort of like kind of came to me, or maybe I heard it in a teaching. But the gist was that the Lord is our shepherd. If you think about a shepherd with his flock, most of the time they'll walk behind and the sheep get to go where they want. And the shepherd will use a staff to like keep them from going the wrong direction. Or if you start to fall off the cliff, they'll grab you, right, with the staff and pull you back up. Maybe have to like correct you a little bit if you're going the wrong way. And so that I want to say maybe not quite 20 years, 15 to 17 or 18 years ago, that really opened up my heart and my mind in my decision making of like, God's got me. I still need to like be connected to him. I need to be in his word and I need to pray about things. But at the same time, sometimes you just get to make a choice. And sometimes he'll open the doors or not and all these things, right? So you and I were talking about that recently. And I kind of have seen it that way for such a long time. Like he goes like in so many ways, he's like a servant leader, like a shepherd. Like he is behind us, just like keeping an eye over us, right? Keeping the enemy at bay behind us and letting us just go forward. But then very recently, you and I have been talking about, like, I think for you it was a school thing. For me, it was job stuff coming up of, I feel like I could do this or I could do this. I'm okay with either one. What do I do? And you kind of get back in that mindset of like, okay, if the Lord can just let me make a choice. And then there was one day, I think it was like we were at church, maybe it was like during worship or something a few weeks ago, because I remember I sent you a Marco and I was like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, I just realized this thing. And it was like, yes, the shepherd typically does that, but sometimes he makes a path. Like if they're leading a flock through the mountains and the valleys and all the things, there are some times the shepherd goes before you and he opens a path for the sheep to walk through. So I think it's kind of like a waiting and thinking and praying about, okay, is this one of those things where I just get to choose and you're going to be with me and you're going to help guide me? Or are you making a path? And I kind of feel like where I'm at in my life right now, I feel like he's making a path. And I'm okay with being wrong too. Like I know he knows more than I do and I'm just human and I could misinterpret things, but like I feel like he was showing me that because he's like this one's a little different. Like I'm making a way for you in this thing. And I'm seeing it happen too. So tell me what you think
Like
about that.
natural. Wow.
Was it too much?
Jen's
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, Jen's speechless for once. We all know that I am never speechless. No. um,
Whatever.
yes, to all of that. And I think I know as humans, we speak about like the control thing. And that's
Hmm.
very evident in any of our decisions, whether it's like school your kid goes to, whether it's job we take, whether it's like what we're eating for dinner, whatever the things. And I think that, so you said that you realized this like, 20 years ago, right? Because we were both raised in Christian homes. I
Yeah.
will say, I think that, I mean, I was raised religiously, but I feel like as far as like the organizations, yours was a little more strict than mine as far as like church and the beliefs and things.
Yes.
But there's this overwhelming just guilt, anyways. I think with people that were raised certain ways,
Hmm.
right? If you're like Southern Baptist, Independent Baptist, like they're deep down, I think it's changing. I think that the conversations are changing. But what I will say is, I've always had faith because my dad, who he was, we talked about him before, but like he was just always, no matter what was happening in his life, he was always just a stable force. He was always positive. So it seemed, did the things with my mom and, seeing that. But I don't know if I started really like believing it and feeling it until even maybe within the last like decade, because I found journals back after like I lost my mom or I lost my dad or
Hmm.
after the accident that I'm writing things that I'm writing that I still write now about like the decisions. God, where do you want me?
Yeah.
And looking back over, look at 38, 42 years, like if you look back at our lives, we are exactly where we're supposed to be.
Hmm.
And maybe it's because we didn't make the right decisions and we got corrected. But what I will say is from what just personal experience is you always kind of end up where you're supposed to be. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think we think so much about all of the outcomes. We talked about this morning right
Hmm.
before this call. Like we think so much, which is, I think, from life lived, experiences, trauma, losses, all the things that our human brain, it's just really hard sometimes to balance that. And I will say yesterday at the service we went to, they just talked about prayer and about what that looks like. And I think you can go either way with that. I think you can go very like positively with it and very negatively with it, right? I think there's a balance. But one of the things that I've seen more and more is prayer is not that you're going to pray and you're going to get what you want, even though in the Bible it says pray and you shall receive, ask you shall receive. It's not
Yeah.
really like meaning like literally because it's like in his will. So we talked about this just a
Mhm.
minute ago. Like it's okay to ask, but I think sometimes for me, just with like losses and things, it's harder to ask. And not that I don't believe it, because I do know he's been faithful, but like certain things we ask for, I want this job, I need this, I need that, whatever. It's just, it doesn't always happen. So for me, it's like, I hear the shepherd, but I've also like, you have to just keep reminding ourselves and go backwards, like what he did do for us. Right.
Oh yeah.
Like you, and it's hard though. It's hard when you're in it and we're over here like, okay, like,
Yeah.
and even this path that you're on right now, I kind of got off topic, but the path that you're on right now, like you want to believe in it and you want to see it. But I loved what you said getting there. But it's like, I could be wrong. And I think like living in that is like very humbling. But I think we all need a little reminder is like, I could be wrong. Like, but then
Yeah.
also pay attention when paths do open up for you, like run towards it, because don't be hardened not to because of our past experience. And I think that's what I'm kind of in the middle of right now, is like I'm almost there, but I'm also kind of like timid with it, I guess, because of just
Yeah.
things that have happened. I mean, all of us do that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're like kind of in the middle of the flock and you're like, but shepherd, some things did happen to me. Like,
Right. But
where are you at?
I think saying that to God is like where I think the most peaceful I felt. And I don't know if you can agree with me or not, is whenever you literally wash your hands of whatever decision you're making, whatever path that you think you're on, to wash your hands of it
Yeah.
and let it go. So we talk a lot about, prayer. I did an angel Bible study recently. You've sent me some stuff on, like demons and things, not to be, they sound so, not
Yeah.
even that
Well,
it's
it was like,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
spiritual warfare stuff. Yeah.
Spiritual warfare. And it's when you think about that, like your input and your output, it's not even about
Hmm.
what you output. It's really like your heart, because no one knows your heart like you do.
Yeah.
So like I see it in you. I'm seeing it in you with your decisions. And a lot of times we call each other out whenever we're not thinking the right thing. Like, okay, I hear you, vent to me, but like, come on, like reality, renew your mind. Where's your mind at? Like, where are you going to go with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And we
So,
both need that. So
but
if
I
you
don't know
don't
if
have
this
a
answered the
person, find
question.
yourself a person that, that will do that with you.
And yeah. And even,
No, I think
stepping out, I'm really proud of you for doing what you're doing right now.
I'm proud of you. I think you nailed it. I think all of it comes down to trust, like drawing near to the Lord, trusting Him, which we hear that all the time, right? But really living in it from the inside out, it's like, it's so different, I guess, than I imagined. And what I
Yeah.
grew up in, I felt like the, I don't want to say theme. I felt like the take on it was always more controlling, right? It was always like, we have to have so much control of I mean, you should have self-control, but like we have to be in control of ourselves. We have to be in control of our spouse. We have to be in control of our kids. And like the
Your
preacher
works,
had to
do
be
good
in
works,
control
do
of
good
all the
works, and
people.
you
And
get,
like
yeah,
you have to be in control of what somebody thinks about you and like control of your choices. Like it was so much control. And it made me feel like I had no control, which is probably good because honestly, sometimes being in things like that just kind of leads you to the truth of like, okay, this is something's off, I guess, is the whole point. But once you let go of that control and you're like, oh, there's so much more mercy and grace and peace than I was ever shown in that environment. I will say, like, when I switched jobs from like the place I was at for 10 years to the other place, I transferred to a different agency. And I remember trying to make that decision. And by that point, I was like, you know what? I've learned at this age, just follow the peace, pray about it and follow the
mm,
peace. I left. And then I think a few months later, one of our friends and coworkers had messaged me because he was thinking about making a similar move. And we talked about it. We talked about the numbers and the different factors and variables. And I told him, I said, at the end of the day, I think the best thing you can do is pray about it and follow the peace. And he was like, wow. And he came back to me a little bit later, messaged me, and he was like, thank you so much for saying that because that has made such a difference. And this is what I have peace about. And I think when we start using that perspective to make our decisions, it's so different than the legalism. It's so different than the control and the fear of what if I mess up? Like, do we think we're that powerful that, like, you know, I don't know, it's pretty simple. Trust and obey, right? Like,
and here's the funny thing. We don't have to get stuck in like if it's the right or wrong decision, because even if it's the wrong one, it's
he's
okay.
gonna
Because how many
guide
wrong
us.
decisions have you made in 38 years? And you're okay right now. Maybe we're not exactly
Yeah.
where we want to be, but are you okay? You have a beautiful family, and you're
Yes.
doing this career choice, and you're doing the things, and your kids are functioning children that
Yes.
that are sweet, and same. It's like, what, you're right. Who do we think we are, in life? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
no one. And I think the
It's
following the piece is very important. No, you're good.
yeah. No, I'm sorry. It just came to me like it's almost like it was kind of presented to me, or the way I took it was like the will of God was this series of like perfect choices, almost like a puzzle where you have to put the very specific correct pieces in. And if you get one of them wrong, like your whole life is over and you can never be in the will of God. Like that, I feel like is how it was kind of painted to me. And I
Right.
really think, I mean, I could definitely look back at my life and see some choices I made that they were wrong. They were not the will of God. But I will say I have moved forward and I do think I'm living in the will of God now so much as I'm able to in my
Well,
human
I
nature.
mean,
You see what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
like there was repentance, he redeems. I don't think the will of God is like one specific place
no,
for everybody, for every situation. I
no.
don't think it's like a series of perfect choices and never messing up. Like that cannot be it because we will all fail, just so you know.
Well, and also I think that following the piece, today's culture is like, do what makes you happy, whatever. We need
Uh,
to add in there. Whenever we're serving other people, we're helping other people. That is what we're supposed to be doing. This world is not about me, and it's really hard.
mm,
And this is could be a whole nother. We always say that. That's a whole different discussion. But I don't know about you. I am more peaceful and happy when I'm helping my neighbor or someone else besides myself. So really, just that, and then the peace part. I will mention something with that is peace can look so many different things. Peace can look so many different ways for people. Peace is,
mhm.
I see these memes about how like these millennials, it's hilarious how like back, 10 years ago, which we're striving for the career and the job and the things. And then now we're all doing sourdough, want to live, have chickens. And
Yeah, we
it's
left the
not far off.
careers. We
It's not, but
yes.
also it's not far off. But I also want to say like, not everyone has that choice.
Right.
Not everyone has that choice. We have single dads, we have single moms, we have co-parents, we have people that are being raised by grandparents, you have, not
Yeah.
everyone has that choice, and so peace to everyone looks different, but peace could also just by say not
Yeah.
signing up for everything, not saying yes to everything. Peace could be
Hmm.
like, hey, on Sunday mornings, I'm going to get myself and I'm going to go find a church and go to that every Sunday morning. And then, Sunday afternoon, turn off my phone, right?
Yeah.
Peace can be mowing, peace can be working out, peace. It's just saying, like, my whole thing is we strive in this culture to keep up with the Joneses, as they say, right? Is that what they say? Um, and it's hard not to. I actually read this thing the other day because I get on and off social so much. I'm kind of back on right now, but it was like, if you feel anxious, put down your phone. If you're feeling your nervous system, put down your phone. Your school and do this. If you feel this, if you're comparing, put down your phone. I'm like, man, it
Hmm.
doesn't mean forever. It just means like for a moment. Like, just imagine going a whole day and not taking one picture and just enjoying it. I challenge people to
Yeah.
do that because it's amazing. I do that probably more
Yes.
than I should, which is why I lose my phone. But
Well,
also, when
I
you
will
have that
say,
piece,
okay.
think about what's in your mind. What are you thinking about too? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was just meaning like peace in decision making. Like if you're just
Right.
not sure,
Okay. I
like
went off the
really
deep
go
end.
inside
Sorry.
and see. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I love it. Because you're right. We can't always guarantee our environment is peaceful. Like I've worked in some very
Right.
not peaceful environments.
Yeah.
But to your point about the phone, when we went to the concert, it was like a standing room only venue, right? And we had a good angle. I didn't want to be too close because I didn't want to be like smashed in with my kid in the middle of
I love that you did that. That's so
uh
important.
thank you. So we're kind of
Love
on
it.
the outside, but we were close enough. It was perfect. But as soon as he came out, as soon as he started singing, three people right in my line of sight like this with their phones. And so
Mhm.
I'm watching the concert through three phones being recorded. And I'm like, not that they could hear me, but I was like, put your phone down and watch the concert.
It's
So like
so, yeah.
I took a couple pictures and I tried to get some of Nora. I think I recorded, but I tried to do it a little bit lower where it wasn't distracting people. I think I recorded like 4 seconds of like the song that you like and like a little bit of the
Hmm.
one that I like. But and I think I took like two pictures. And she was taking some videos and I was like, hey, get you a little clip and then put your phone down and
Be
enjoy
in the
the
moment.
live performance because you can look up his videos anytime and watch them
Yeah.
online. Like be here and enjoy it. And I think teaching that to a 13-year-old right now, where their whole
Mm.
generation is like, we drive by
Hmm.
the bus stop up here, and there's like three or four high schoolers standing on the corner, not talking to each other, going like this with their necks all the way down. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
That's a whole,
So
that's a whole
I'm,
series right there.
yeah. So,
Just
but
kidding.
yes, put your phone down, enjoy
But
what's around you. I
back
love it.
back to the piece about decisions where you change, like you're saying, because now we're, but just peace in general.
Yeah.
Yes, go the peaceful one. And again, if it's the wrong decision, it's okay. Like you can always pivot. And I think that's really important in today's society. Like what you're saying is like there's multiple choices. So just pick like you said, the one that's maybe more peaceful. If it's the wrong one, it's okay. People lose their jobs. People
Hmm.
do things all the time. I'm not
Hmm.
saying I want that for people and make the wrong decision, but it's like, okay, so you make the wrong decision and you have to pivot and it's a little uncomfortable. Well, both of us have been through, most people that are getting older have been through things that they've had to pivot and that are unexpected. And you know what? It's okay. So if we can compare everything, even little ones, to like the biggest thing that's ever happened to us, like maybe
Yeah.
that will make it more simple. So, like, choosing the school, choosing the job, choosing your next adventure, whatever, like decision with kids. Like, I understand you pray about it, but I'm really trying to get over the like focusing so much on anything because I don't think that that's healthy. And sometimes I do that. So I'm trying to get out of that
Yeah.
for my kid because I want her to be able to not be scared of every decision she has to make or
Yeah.
whatever. And not that I'm scared of every decision. Some decisions I'm like this, and then sometimes like there's certain ones that I'm like, oh, and if you think it'd be opposite, because some bigger decisions so easy, like, hey, yeah, let's like sell everything and buy a camper and move to the country and be pregnant. That was like this, but then it's like, okay, so which kindergarten? And it's like you literally think like, it's
Like it's going to
hilarious.
change the course of her whole life.
Yeah, and it makes me kind of giggle
It
now saying
could,
it,
I
by the
guess,
way.
but
Yeah, I
like,
mean it could,
yeah.
but okay.
And usually, sometimes what we think might be best on our terms, sometimes the Lord will put a stop to that and lead us somewhere else. And we're like, oh, this was so much better. Like, thank God
Yeah.
he knows all the things and I don't because I would
Pay
not have chosen
attention.
that.
Just pay attention to those signs. And I think that you are. And we'll talk more maybe in the coming weeks about what you're talking about
Yeah.
because Jamie has some really cool stuff going on with some health coaching stuff and some opportunities. And we're following you, and I want you to share when you're ready. But things are happening for
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm saying. I feel
yeah,
like when all this happened and I felt, again, we can't always go with our feelings. So it's like you have to kind of pray, see what you feel, but also check it. But like I
walk
felt
away from it
like,
for a minute. Walk away for a minute.
yeah,
Like pause.
I felt like this would be one of those things where like I would just have to keep walking in faith and like, have you heard that Irish blessing that says something about the road rise to meet you? That saying came into my head with this recently. It's like as you walk, like the road just like comes up to your feet. And
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes anyway,
Hit on
we could
that
go
because
on.
I can't wait to hear
We do
this
this
one.
one.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah, thank you. It was good. I like our
Have a
talks.
I do too. You you have a great one. And I'm gonna remind everybody, like, we don't get on here and it's just hilarious what we talk about. Because I have no idea what we're
Yeah,
gonna talk
we
about.
really didn't plan out like,
We
oh,
never
Jennifer's going
do.
to say this and it's going to segue into that. Like we really didn't. It just was like, wow. I
That's how it
knew
always
I
is.
knew
It's
like a basic
hilarious.
like sort of devotion topic, but it just needs to be more of a conversation. But it just went right into it.
You
It's like
know?
this is amazing. So,
All right. I'll talk till next time.
yay, till next time.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We truly hope this episode has touched your heart.
If someone came to mind while you were listening, please feel free to share this with them.
And if you have any questions or feedback for us, you can reach us at allthingsunbrokenpodcast@gmail.com.
Have an awesome day.